Moving on to option 2, here's the existing boundaries. Here's the changes for option 2. Now we faded back the existing boundaries and highlighted our change areas. And so starting at the top again, Patterson would be in the yellow outlined area, and it would feed 100% to Crockett and Bush. We'd pick up Mission Sierra. Mission Trace, along with this future undeveloped land, would go to Holly, Hodges Bend, and then to Bush. We'd also pick up kind of this northeast corner of Aliana, which would also go to Holly, Hodges Bend, and Bush. Madden would be left in this red outlined area, and it would feed 100% to Garcia and then on to Austin, which would be a change. One thing to point out here is that we've kind of drawn this line to include this area that is in close proximity to Madden due to walkability, but all of this area here that is in this option is zoned to 51 is also walkable to Madden. And so these students would have to be transported to Elementary 51 even though they're walkable to Madden. And so the area north of Airport would go to Elementary 51, Garcia and Travis, and south of Airport would go to Elementary 51, Garcia and Austin. If we move on to Oyster Creek, the changes here, this area is Old Orchard and it would move to Oyster Creek. Stratford Park would also move to Oyster Creek, and Chelsea Harbor would also move to Oyster Creek. We'd also pick up this area in Holly, which would also move down to Oyster Creek, and Oyster Creek would feed 100% into Garcia and Austin. We pick up this area that is on the eastern edge of Oyster Creek. It would move into Lakeview and then also feed 100% into Sugarland and Kempner. But in order to make all of that work, we'd have to have an addition at Lakeview. Again, like the previous option, we would align this feeder pattern bust here. These students who currently feed to Fleming, Garcia, and Austin would feed to Fleming and then change to Hodges Bend and Kempner. And again, we have our same changes out here with Pecan Grove. That area currently part of Neal would move to Pecan Grove, but it would require an addition. Looking at the data associated with option 2, we do a much better job again of utilizing Holly. We would go from 62% to 81% to 79, and then up to 98 to 95 towards the end. The bilingual program could likely stay in the near term, but may need to be phased out over time as the utilization increases at Holly. Again, Lakeview, we would go from 78% to 71 to 72, and then when the new facility is constructed, we're over capacity based on the boundary we have, so we need to have an addition here. Perhaps it could be built when the school is being initially constructed, or maybe it has to come online a couple years later. Madden would go from almost 170% to 99, back up to 105, 110, and then once its addition comes online, down to 89, and then back up to 100 over time. Looking at Neal would go from 88 again to 94, and then start to get up to 100, 105, 108% towards the end of the projection. Now we'll toggle on those additions, and so you can see our utilization at Oakland goes away once we have that addition online in 2023-24. Looking at Oyster Creek would be much better utilized, going from 76% up to 98, and staying in the 90s all 10 years. Patterson goes from 81% down to 70, 74, and then starts to head back up towards the end of the projection. Again, Pecan Grove, 109%, 121, 127, and then once its addition would come online, it would be down around 100. Walker Station, again, unchanged in this option. Elementary 51 would open at 47%, 61, 74, and then would never see 100% in the 10 years, but would be in the high 80s, low 90s. Looking at the middle schools, again, we help to reduce that overutilization at Bowie. We do increase utilization over time at Crockett. Looking at the high schools, we've got really good balance here. We don't show any high schools over 100% in all 10 years of the projection. We get Travis down into the low 90s towards the end.